Hello and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Anthony C. and this is Focus on Liberia debate. Welcome and welcome to the debate. The debate is on the topic Liberia honor President George Weah. In this debate, we have two outstanding Liberians who are here to debate this particular topic. We have a pro and we have a con for this particular debate. We will welcome the pro here quickly, who is Dr. Ballah Kemah. Dr. Ballah Kemah is an empathizer of President George Weah, and he will be debating the pro for the debate today. Dr. Ballah, welcome to Focus on Liberia debate.
Thanks a lot. I'm grateful to be here with you wonderful folks and to your viewing audience as well.
Thank you so very much, and we are glad to have you. Also seated is Benjamin Kofa Fania. Fania is a 2023 presidential hopeful and is a critic of President Weah, and he will be debating the con of the topic Liberia honor President Weah. Ben, welcome to Focus on Liberia debate.
I want to say thank you, Anthony C., my dear friend and brother. I'm always happy to respond to any invitation by from page Focus on Liberia. I am very happy to be here. I look forward to a very interesting and vibrant interaction. I also want to tell every Liberian hearing the sound of my voice, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Liberia is all we have, and we are invested. We are interested in everything Liberian. So I'm happy to be here to discuss Liberia. Thank you very much.
All right, and Ben, look at your end. If that sound is coming from you, then please take care of that. Also here is Focus on Liberia reporter in Liberia, Theo Williams, who is now anchoring at Prompt FN 105.5. Theo, welcome and welcome to Focus on Liberia debate.
Thank you very kindly, Anthony. It's a great day in Monrovia, Liberia, and it feels good being on this premier platform once again. I'm humble.
All right, humble is Theo Williams. Humble also is Anthony C., the moderator for the debate, and Theo will be assisting me. I will moderate this all-important debate. Gentlemen, for the debate on the topic, Liberia honor President Weah, we send you the specific area. We'll be looking at healthcare, we'll be looking at economy, we'll be looking at agriculture, we'll be looking at the rule of law, gender equality, democracy, security, and sustaining the peace. Gentlemen, we urge you to be brief as possible, for we have about an hour or a little above that for this particular debate. Be as concise as possible, and we urge the audience to follow and respect our debaters. If you disagree, register your disagreement. We will not encourage anything that will not be pleasant to our debaters. So, gentlemen, again, I want to say welcome, and let us get started with the debate in no time. For the debate, like I said earlier, if you are given an opportunity to speak, you have maximum 3 minutes to make your initial argument, and we'll have 2 minutes for a rebuttal. We'll start with healthcare, and this time we'll start with a pro, that is Dr. Ballah Kemah. Dr. Ballah, first question for healthcare. Has the healthcare system under President Weah improved or gotten worse? We want to give you some specific before you respond. So for healthcare, we also want to know, is the population healthier or sicker today under President Weah? Can the people afford to pay for their care when they are sick? Do hospitals and other healthcare centers have the staff, equipment, and medication to take care of the people? And finally, are there healthcare centers close by the people to go to when they need care? Those are the specific we want you to speak to. It's your time now to speak.
Once again, Anthony and Mr. Kofa and Theo from Liberia. Once again, I'm very glad, very honored to be a part of this conversation this afternoon, and certainly this evening in Liberia. To answer your question very directly, the answer is yes. Healthcare has, to a very minute extent, improved under President Weah. And I want us to make sure to take light not take light of the word minute. Okay, I purposely inserted that word there. Healthcare is a very significant problem, and I'm glad you actually started with that, because that's my cup of tea. That's what I do here in these United States of America, and that's what I tend to participate to a very large extent in Liberia, as far as from the economic side of things. But healthcare has improved, but to a very minute extent. Now, the access to care, okay, is still challenging. There is still a challenge there, of course. It's not like we just came from another premier situation and now trying to make it work or make it better. We came from a very horrible, last 12 years, before President Weah's 12 years, under Joseph Weah. And we see that there was no significant strides made in the healthcare sector. But what we're seeing happening now under this president is very significant. And it will take time, but it will materialize over time. For example, like the various hospitals that are being built across the country, all renovated. The 100-bed hospitals in several counties like Grand Judea County, Riverside County, Bapolu County, the 14th Military Hospital, the Redemption Hospital that's being renovated. And even yesterday, I'm not sure if you paid enough attention to what happened on Facebook yesterday, but the president also just built a several housing unit facility for nursing staff in Bumby County. These are, there are so many more that we can talk about, going down the list, but these are direct and intentional actions by this administration that are geared towards augmenting and improving the healthcare system in Liberia. Listen to me, I'm not going to accuse this administration of being the most perfect administration. But, there is something within our, society. We say, look, at least the thought is what counts. This man came and inherited a huge challenge. The last administration, a part of which Joseph Weah was, a very significant part, left office, and the healthcare sector was very deplorable. And it still is today. But these very minimal strides that are being made by this administration, and many more, which we like you said, we don't have the time to actually talk about, right, all of them, because within 2 minutes. But all of these strides that are being made are very significant. And I would wager that we gave them the chance to see how this materializes. This certainly did not happen within 6 years. So we can't expect everything to come back to normal or to come to a place of relevance within the scope of 6 years. At least 12 years and counting. So I will kind of give the time over to Mr. Benjamin for now, and we can go back and forth on that and talk a little more about it.
Thank you. And Ben, you just listening to your fellow debater there. You also have your 3 minutes to make your argument. The core question here is, has the healthcare system under President Weah improved or gotten worse?
I would say, unfortunately, my friend on the other side, he made a very important point. And he said healthcare has improved minutely, very small. But let me tell you this. The CDC campaigned on the mantra of change. When you campaign on that mantra, you are basically saying, I know what is happening here, and I'm going to make it better. So in that aspect, based on what he said, the minute change means failure to me. But let's look at the numbers. It is good that he works in the healthcare field. The World Health Organization has basics in terms of counts, doctors in relation to population. That number is 1 to 1,000. That is the World Health Organization standard. How many doctors you should have in relation to your population. In Liberia, right now as we speak, this number is from the Liberia Medical and Dental Council's website. We have 1 doctor to 15,000 Liberians. 1 doctor to 15,000 Liberians. For me, that represents a failure. The CDC have had literally 5 years to make a dent, to make a change in that. So that represents a failure. Let me go a little bit, I'll move 1 step ahead. Right now as we speak, look at the national budget, look at the appropriations. The CDC this year They gave $78.4 million to healthcare. But now look at this, to public administration, to paying themselves. They gave themselves $297 million. That shows a lack of interest and a lack of priorities. So the CDC, there's no excuse. The CDC has failed. They has failed in terms of improving healthcare because there are no plans. I can bet you, my friend from the other side, he cannot give me the detailed healthcare plan of the government of Liberia in relation to the proper agenda for development. He cannot give that to me.
And Ben, before you continue, some of the specifics we are asking for you to speak to within your scope of time. Number one, is the population healthier or sicker today under President Weah? Can the people afford to pay for their care when they get sick? Do hospitals and other health centers have the staff, equipment, and medication they need? Are their healthcare center closed by the people when they need care?
That was my last point. What we call access and affordability. It is non-existent. Healthcare is scarce, and people, the ordinary Liberians, because of the lack of job, they cannot afford it. And based on the ratio that I gave you, one doctor to 15,000 people, it's almost impossible to see a doctor. And hospitals should be built with a sense of access, where is ease of access. In Liberia, no, there are parts of Liberia that have limited or no access to hospitals. So in that regard, the CDC has failed, and Liberians are sicker under the CDC.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, gentlemen. At this time, we'll come to rebuttals. And in your rebuttal, we want you to make your closing argument after rebutting. And please tell us, given the state of the healthcare system under President Weah, is President Weah worthy of re-election? That will be your rebuttal and closing. Dr. Ballah, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, but I had to. I appreciate you trying to guide the reporter, but there's so many things my learned friend on the other side mentioned, and I think it kind of points to the fact that he's very chronically confused about a lot of the things that you look at when it comes to healthcare. Number one, he mentioned that the ratio, the World Health Organization ratio, of doctors. I mean the proposed ratio. I don't think my learned friend understood what I said earlier. We came and this administration inherited a very unfortunate circumstance when it comes to the entire country. This government is actually seems to be working towards mitigating that. The entire ratio to a doctor to population. For example, this president is noted and is known has sponsored several to the tune of about 100 medical practitioners in Liberia to several different countries around the world to go and specialize. Those are things that you do when you're trying to solve a problem. My learned friend rightly said that, unfortunately, he was wrong by saying because this party campaign on solving these issues, and just because these things have not been totally solved within the span of 5 years, certainly renders them, a failure. That is far from reality, because what you see happening is they're not campaigning and saying we're going to solve everything before 6 years. They said we are going to solve these issues, and as a part of solving issues, you start by working on those things gradually by taking several actions. For example, like I said, sending out medical practitioners out of the country to go and learn, to go and specialize and come back to be beneficial to society. Building these several medical facilities around the country. For example, now we're seeing that there is a dialysis center at the JFK. That's very significant, because prior to that, in the past, people were going to Ghana and other places to go have their dialysis done. These are actions you take. So there is a major distinction between throwing out a bunch of ideas and things in one's mind and then putting that parallel to actual actions. The actions being taken by this administration are real. They are significant. They are tangible. They are there. And by the way, I don't know when the last time my friend Benjamin was actually in Liberia. But if you haven't been there in a while, you should go there and see what's happening there. I've been there 2 times in the span of the last 12 months, 12 to 13 months. I've seen the reality of things. I had to go and see for myself because I was tempted, like many other Liberians here in the diaspora, to just believe what's being told on Facebook. I had to go and see for myself. And these things are real. And now, don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to ignore the real issues in Liberia. The healthcare is still deplorable. It's still deplorable relative to several other countries around Africa, around West Africa. I agree with you on that. But this administration is not sitting down idle and playing around. They are working, they are trying, but it will take time. That's all I'm actually advocating.
So that's about
it takes time.
Given the level of work and given the state of the healthcare system, will you, in your judgment, as somebody close to the medical professional, your feelings, say that this government should be re-elected?
Absolutely. Look, absolutely. I'm not even going to waste the time to actually answer that. And again, once again, we had the boycott, the administration that Joseph Boyka was a major part of, the number 2 man. We saw that basically nothing was done when it comes to healthcare, but we see actions being taken. What do you want? Promises, mere empty talk, buffoonery, or just acts of something that I personally coined pepper birdery, talking like pepper birds, talking all the time, but doing nothing? This government is acting. So most definitely they should be elected, especially on the basis of their actions they're taking right now. I don't see why my learned friend Benjamin will even argue against that point. It's real. Action speaks louder than words.
Ben, you heard me?
Certainly.
Action speaks louder than words.
Louder than words. I mean, it's a fact.
Let us hear you. Given what we know in the state of the healthcare system under President Weah in the CDC, does the CDC deserve re-election by the Liberian people?
I would say a categorical no. Under this CDC administration, all of us here, we are witness to that. We have officials of the government, officials of government of Liberia, who died literally outside Liberia seeking health care. We have officials, I'm not talking about because the ordinary Liberian cannot afford it. Officials of government of Liberia, they died in Ghana, some other places, seeking health care. And my brother is telling me that the health care is sufficient. So
no, I didn't say sufficient. I didn't say sufficient. I don't want you to.
So why is it that
these officials other countries deplorable?
Yes,
but
why these officials will leave Liberia if the CDC, and we're talking about 5 years. 5 years is enough time to turn anything around. We're not talking about 1 year or 2 years. We're talking about 5 years along the line. The government.
Joseph Boyka had 12 years. Joseph Boyka had 12.
Hold on, my brother. CDC has lost track of its vision, its goal. This is a total mismanagement, and I will give him this. The CDC inherited a bad framework, but the CDC made it worse by total mismanagement. Utter mismanagement. So based on what we're seeing in relation to the healthcare, especially so when we have government officials dying in overseas hospitals, the CDC does not deserve re-election because that is a monstrous failure, and this failure costs human lives. It costs human lives. Mobutu, Nipa, we can go. The list is most of the officials of Liberia government who died. They die in Ghana. They die in other places. So the healthcare sector is totally deplorable. It is an icon of the mismanagement and the incompetence level of this government.
Thank you.
This government does not deserve a re-election. They do not. Thank you.
To you and the viewing audience, I got to just fix that real quick. And that's what politicians do. And I'm glad that my brother Benjamin is actually vowing to be president. That's what politicians do. They paint stories, they lie, they make things up, and they repeat those things. And psychologically, I am not a psychologist, but one thing I know, and that's a normal human tendency. When you start to say something to yourself over and over, you start believing it. Now he just lied. He did not mention, and unfortunately, once again, my sympathy goes to the family of the late Honorable Nipa and Munapelno and all these government officials that went out of the country. But these are events that happened early on in the Weah administration. And these deplorable healthcare situations in Liberia were actually passed down from the previous administration. Those things had just happened. But now, like we see once again, this government is working on improving those things. The vice president went out of the country for treatment and came back healthy. So not everybody went and died. So come on, let's be real.
Thank you.
Let's not just twist the thing.
That will conclude it for healthcare. We will now move on to the economy in few seconds. time for the economy, we will have Benjamin Kofa Fanier to start. Mr. Kofa, if you don't mind, on the economy, core question. How has Liberia economy performed under President Weah in the areas of investment, growth, and jobs creation? For the specifics on that question, we are asking, are there jobs and are people getting paid a living wage and on time? What is the unemployment rate now compared to we are taking office? I mean, before we had to take office. Do the increases in prices commensurate with the income that they are receiving today? Is the economy growing? Looking at all the major indicators of the economy.
All right. I want to say thank you. You see, once again, I will emphasize this. The CDC inherited a bad situation, but due to their mismanagement and lack of foresight, they made it worse. But also, let us not lose sight. The CDC promised change. That's my emphasis. They promised change. But let me just go to this. Before I answer you, I'll be very short on this. The World Bank and the IMF, they release a report every year. Now, I'm telling you from 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021, those 4 years, the CDC, this has been 4 years under the CDC. Now, listen to this. 2018, Liberia was #1, the poorest country in the world. This is not by me. You can go to the World Bank website. 2019, Liberia was #6. I'm talking about the 10th poorest country in the world. 2020, Liberia was #8, poorest country in the world. 2021, just last year, Liberia again came #6. So if your country is in the top 10 for consecutive 4 years in a row of the poorest country in the world, you do not have an economy. Let me go to your next point. You talk about investments. Nobody wants to invest in a country that is mismanaged. Nobody wants to invest in a country that is not properly ran. Nobody wants to invest in a country that don't have enforcement in terms of the rule of law. Nobody wants to invest there. So as a result of that, Liberia has lost significant what I call foreign direct investment. It has declined to the lowest level ever. Let me go to the next point. Economic growth. I just gave you the list. I just gave you the list. Now, let me give us all Liberia GDP. The GDP of Liberia for the last 4 years. The first 2 years, it declined. Last year, government of Liberia, I would say, fabricated a number and they boosted the growth, but I don't believe that number. I do not believe it. I do not believe that. So there is no economic growth. Let me tell you why. When your economy is growing, it is evident in the people's lives. Next point I want to say, job creation. I will tell you this. This represents one of the worst areas of the CDC. In the United States, there is a system in terms of how jobs are measured every month. Let me tell you how it works. They go to they go to homes, they go to offices, and they go to businesses. It is done by what they call the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Now, let me tell you why they can't do that in Liberia. Liberia homes don't have addresses. Businesses, some of them don't have addresses. Where would they go to? So the framework for measurement of unemployment in Liberia is non-existent. I proposed this way back to the CDC when I was a CDC. But people say, oh, they got to let book Bennett, they let too much book Bennett. You know, those are bases upon which you can have, you know, respectable measurement, respectable number. Now, as I speak to you, the unemployment number in Liberia officially is 4% plus. And that is a total fabrication because that doesn't reflect the reality on the ground. 95% of, maybe 97% of Liberians are unemployed. They are unemployed. But you see, because of fabrication, cooking the numbers, they just put that number out there and there's no one in Liberia to even challenge those numbers. It's a fabrication. The last point I want to say, you ask if folks are paid living wages. I would say no. Let me just give one case. Look at the average cops in Liberia. Look at the average policeman. Compare his pay with the average lawmaker. I mean, compare how much the average cop make in Liberia with that of a lawmaker. So there's a huge disparity. This call for a total reassessment in terms of how we pay people. So Liberians are not being paid a living wage. No, they are not.
And
Thank
it's
you.
on time, at least.
No, don't talk about on time, because it's never on time. It's never on time. It's documented. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's about that. Do you remember the question, or would you rather me read it again?
No, I certainly do. But you know, Anthony, to be honest with you, I don't know if Mr. Kofa is actually here to be a critic of the government or to actually enhance praises on the government. Because let me just start with where he started before I even go to the points that I have. And I know I have a certain amount of time, so if I'm going over, please feel free to cut me off. But you know, the opposition will need to do better than this. This is embarrassing. You just came on here and pretty much, maybe in your mind, you were probably criticizing the government, but you probably didn't realize that you were actually speaking to the economic growth of the government. Mm-hmm. In your words, you said in 2018, that's exactly when what you call it? Let me see here. In 2018, Liberia was the #1 poorest country. Those were your words.
Yeah.
And you said 2019. What happened?
Liberia was number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
And then you said 2020. What happened again?
Liberia was number 8.
So what does that suggest?
No. Go to 2021. Liberia was number 6.
No. I want to stay right there. I want to stay right. I want to stay right there. Hang on. It's my turn. It's my turn. I'm going to ask you. It's my turn. I'm going to ask you questions. You said in 2016. So basically, what you said was the economy of Liberia has been improving steadily. That's what you said, without even thinking you were saying that. And that's why, to me, it's laughable, because the opposition has nothing. And I'm saying, I know you're actually running for president as well, but I also want to lump in the Honorable Vice President Boyka as well. They have nothing on this administration. There has been perpetually steady gains made by this administration. Let's just start with the several various types of constructions. Like I said, I was just in Liberia within the last 13 months. I've been there twice already, just to go see for myself, because a lot of men say my witness where? Beyond the river. I had to go see for myself. I've been hearing all this buffoonery on Facebook. I said, let me go there and make a trip. There are several constructions going on, right? You want to talk about the different kinds of road networks going on. I'm not going to go into the minutia of it, but we're just going to be general about it. There are several road network constructions now. What these things are going to lead to ultimately, especially like the ones the ones happening in the hinterland, they are going to connect the country such that people will be able to conduct commerce a lot easier now, because you have access to the main ports of very harsh and rapid economic activities, right? So when these road networks have come into fruition and come to bear, that's going to open up the country such that people can connect, people can interact, commerce, and to a larger extent, given this Africa Free Trade Agreement, if we have very efficient road networks within the country, ultimately we're going to be able to have easier access from the hinterland to Ivory Coast, from the hinterland to Guinea, from the hinterland to Sierra Leone, and then ultimately to Guinea, to Ghana and other places in West Africa, where we can move our goods from Monrovia to these other places and improve the ultimate GDP of Liberia. I'm not an economist, but certain things are just based off of common sense. There's so much I can name here. The building of for example, like the affordable housing for the least fortunate Liberians. That's going to enhance people's general state of well-being, such that they will think better and start to get involved economically. Electricity. Creating a space where people can conduct commerce, electricity, believe it or not, is very significant. Just by that alone, encourages people to come out and be more excited about, conducting commerce. So this economy is going to boom. Now, I'm not saying it's where it should be, but it's struggling, but we will get there. And even you just helped me to say that the government is actually doing better based on those numbers that you gave. So I don't know what else I need to say.
Thank you. Ben, you have 2 minutes for your report.
Yes, I want to come in. You see, when my friends say this, it bothers me. Number one, there are 195 countries in the world, 195, and Liberia is hovering in number 10. And my friend said that's an achievement. I mean, it
No,
bothers
that's
me.
not what I said. That's not what I said.
I mean, it
I pointed
bothers me.
to the static growth. The static growth.
Go to the
We're
next
talking
one.
about the static growth.
I'll go to 195. You said be in the top 10, the poorest country. You said that's okay. Let's go to the next one. You see, my friend, probably when we come to this debate, sorry, I'm not trying to speak to you, but I'm talking about some of the things, some of the shows I've been on. People should come in informed. When you talk about roads, I will tell you this: the official network of roads in Liberia, you can find it out, is the official network of all the roads in Liberia is 10,600 kilometers. That's the official network of all the roads in Liberia. Now listen to this. The paved road, which he was bragging about right now, the paved road, that means where the cars will be going on, is only 667 kilometers. And my friend is saying that is an achievement. That is not even 1,000 kilometers of roads is in the country. And you say that's an achievement, and that will even spur on people to, engage in commercial activities. It's a rank failure. Let me tell you, my brother, I would say this: CDC inherited a bad state, but the CDC, because of incompetence and mismanagement, they took a bad situation and made it worse. So the roads that CDC are building, how far is the road? A 2-kilometer road. It's not a road, my dear brother. It's not a road. I just give you the number. The total length of roads in Liberia is 10,600 kilometers. Only 667 are paved. And you say that's an accomplishment? For me, it's a failure. It's a stock failure.
And Ben,
okay.
Ben, for your closing here, then we can get to Dr. Ballah here quickly. Most of the roads that are ongoing right now were projects that were initiated by the previous government. Does the CDC government deserve any credit for the completion works that have been going on for the time they've been in power? Some that have been completed, according to them. Does the CDC deserve any credit? And should the Liberian people find any reason to elect President Weah or the CDC for the level of work they've done, especially with the completion of road projects?
I would say with the completion of roads, government is having continuity. So, they have an obligation and a responsibility to do that. But that is not a basis for them to be elected, because the quantity of the road being completed is minute. It is negligible. It shows that this government has no vision. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to
first of all
question come in here. The CDC came to power and said, hey, Coastal Highway, we're looking for 1 billion. All right. The CDC did not succeed. This was the CDC primary pronouncement to the Liberian people in terms of road construction. CDC is yet to achieve that. What the CDC has been able to achieve or is achieving in terms of road construction, those predominant projects that were initiated by previous administration. Does the CDC deserve credit in your opinion?
So well, actually, the first thing I would do is try to divorce us from the temptation of giving credit to where credit is not due. In this case, I was just in Liberia. By you continuing to say that to a large extent these were all projects initiated by the previous administration is not exactly the fact. So I was just in Liberia. Like I said, I'm saying initial projects being erected in several different areas in the country as far as road network is concerned. New project, things that are fresh from scratch. I think the only one you can say was started by the previous administration was the Japanese highway, and that's been completed by this administration. And now that project was started within perhaps the first 3 years of the previous administration. They had 12 years. So they started that project and kind of left it lingering. This administration came and took it, and pretty much when it started, it was just a start. It wasn't anything big. It was just a couple of other things that started laying down. This administration came and actually made it significant and finished it up. So if you really want to compare it, the CDC-led administration did about 85 to 90% of that entire Japanese highway project. So if you want to give credit to the previous administration for maybe thinking about the idea, that's fine. But at least they made no real significant strides at it. Now, my brother just laid out a lot of stats talking about the amount of road network that has been constructed. That stuff has to be challenged, because I feel like those are numbers he's just bringing up from his head. That's not even real. But even at that, even at that, the fact that this administration is actually embarking upon these projects, lend to something. And my brother also, perpetually said that these are ongoing projects, which is a good thing, because the government did not say that within the first 5 years we are going to be done connecting Liberia with roads. They said we are going to work on these things, and they are being done. Okay, give them time. They are doing these things. These things are happening in real time. I want us to divorce ourselves, unfortunately, from always trying to compare the quality of road in a country like Liberia that's trying to come back to a place of reference, compare it to places like the United States. You can't do that. That's not fair. We are going to do what we can do now, right within the means that we have. That's what this government is doing their best to actually put these road networks together. It's happening. It's happening in real time. And I agree with you. It will take time. It's not going to take 6 years. It's certainly not even going to take 12 years. But I believe that this government would have made a significant impact in that regard. By the time they're done, after 12 years, I mean, it will be easier for the next person. And yes, so based on these things, this government should be reelected. Absolutely. I don't see why not. Joseph Walker had 12 years. What did he do? I mean, he just got rejected in Lofa by his own people. So if he was doing something significant, I think it was going to reflect in that election. Well, let's go ahead.
Thank you, folks. If you are just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia Debate. I'm Anthony Seal, moderating with our reporter in Liberia, Theo Williams. We will take a brief break, and when we come back, we'll be looking at agriculture. Again, we are taking a very brief break. We'll be back and talk about agriculture. All right, we are back with you, and Dr. Ballah, you will go first on agriculture. I will read the core question, and my partner there in Liberia, will be reading the specific questions that we want you to speak directly. And two, I don't know, for some reason, there is the core question here. All right, the question reads: how is Liberia agricultural sector doing in terms of budgetary funding, productivity, and value addition? I will now go to Theo to read the specifics that we want you to speak to. Theo, are you ready?
Yeah, great, Anthony. Under agriculture, we have food security. So the question is, are we able to feed ourselves? As one. Two, are we spending more on importing food than ever before? These are the two questions.
That's about it.
All right, perfect. First of all, thanks, Theo. Number one, before I even answer those two questions, let me just throw out there real quick. When we start talking about the Liberian economy, the one thing we cannot leave out is rice. Rice is our staple food. We got to make sure rice is good. We know a lot of things have happened in Liberia due to rice. There is a modern, a rice facility that's been constructed right now in Lofa. Just to put it out there, just so you guys know, this government is working now. Your first question, Theo, was can you say that for me again? Just the first one.
Are we able to feed ourselves?
Absolutely, yes. We, as Liberians, as Africans, we have the utmost ability to feed ourselves. And this situation transcends any administration.
But Dr. Ballah, are we doing it now? That is the question. Are we able to feed ourselves now?
We do have the potential to do that. We do have, and let me just say why. That we do have the potential to feed ourselves. Number one, we are blessed to be in a part of the world where we can grow our own food without having to have anything imported into Africa at all. But unfortunately, due to the past colonial, doctrine that have been imposed upon our people, somehow we think we still have to be looking towards the West to feed ourselves when we don't. Actually, the West looks towards it.
You're shifting blame. I'm
not shifting blame. I'm spreading it out. Now, we are capable of feeding ourselves if we as Liberians, which has been perpetually championed and asked by this president, if we as Liberians, the young Liberians, can understand the essence of going back to the soil, okay, and engaging in agriculture, if we will stop thinking that our only source of means of eating should come from the West, if we can understand that we have a lot more abilities than we can that we could ever imagine. If the young people can say, look, let me start buying a couple of plots of land in the country, right? Planting my rice, planting my cassava. Maybe you find a way that somebody can help me. I can try to convert my cassava to gari. I can, secondary products. Look, we have the ultimate ability to feed ourselves.
You are sounding futuristic. We are talking
and right now,
doing now.
Yes, right now, we are capable of feeding ourselves. But are we doing it? No. To a large extent, we're not doing it. That is not a fault of this government. This is more like a psychological thing that has to happen. We have to understand that, look, we have this ability to feed ourselves. We have the soil. Our soil is, awesome. We are blessed with
anything meaningful in terms of
amazingly. This government has actually put out offers. Now, look, if you come with a very substantial, relevant, and a well organized plan to engage in agriculture, we will give you loans. We will give you subsidies. We will create the means and the opportunities for you people to go back to the soil and create the means to actually feed yourself and actually conduct commerce. So yes, there are opportunities, but Liberians would need to take on these opportunities. I'm not trying to blame Liberians because it's been tough over the years. That the last administration, I don't know what it did on the boycott in them. I don't know what exactly they've done to actually encourage that. And people will say, oh, during boycott in town, people were eating, but people were eating based on kind of like a charitable basis. But what this administration has done was to rein everything in and make sure, look, we are going to go out there and work for our own stuff. No more free stuff. So there are programs and opportunities out there. Liberians need to capitalize on that, and get back to the soil, and we can do it. We can make it work. That's not something you can't blame the government for, for the fact that people are not working on trying to feed themselves. You can't blame the government for that because there are opportunities if you seek it.
Thank you. And then I will remind you the core questions on agriculture we're looking at: budgetary funding, productivity, and value addition. How are we doing under President Weah?
Yeah, you see, my brother here, I want to say this. There's something, there's something called a hard sell. It's very hard to defend the actions of the CDC, government, especially so 5 years. Now, let me just say this. The latest budget that we have, it just went to a recast, almost $1 billion. Almost $1 billion. Agriculture got a little or around $8 million. Talk about priorities. I will tell you this: Liberia's only means out of poverty, the only method we have is agriculture. But they show a lack of vision. A lack of vision. The government is totally incompetent, completely incompetent. Let me tell you this. We have two of the resources we need in Liberia to push agriculture. Let me tell you this. First thing, we have the availability of young men, that is human resources. Young men, 65% of the people alive today who call themselves Liberians, they are under 35 years old. 65% of everybody who is alive today that call themselves, is availability of young men. Let me tell you, number two, we have the availability of land, arable land for agriculture. But the government lack of vision. My brother is telling me that people should go to the farm. I will tell you this, my brother, it takes what they call leadership. In your home, in my home, somebody have to step up and provide leadership, provide guidance. Then your children or our loved ones will follow. When it comes to the state, the government has a responsibility to create an avenue where the people will thrive. The government is visionless. Look at the Ministry of Agriculture. Just a few months ago, the LSCC indicted the top 5 officials at the Ministry of Agriculture for corruption. They have no vision. They have no plan. All they are doing is just enriching themselves. My brother, let's admit, regarding agriculture, the CDC has failed, and it has led to the World Food Program declaring 3 years in a row that Liberians face significant food insecurity. Food insecurity, we can't feed ourselves. We cannot. So this is just another showcase of how messed up and vigilant the government is. We should admit this. You see, if we intend to change Liberia, we should be bold. We should be brave to tell our friends the truth. Number one, I want to say to Anthony and our other guests, who is in Liberia, we have significant food insecurity. And last year, let me tell you, last year, I will send you all the information, my friend, Liberia imported a little over $1.1 billion worth of merchandise. That's the import. We exported a little over $500 million. And the bulk of the things we imported were food items, especially also some of the rice. Rice was high on the list in terms of importation. And you know, when we import, you know, we lose money because we take Liberian dollar to buy US dollar. So we lose money in between. What I'm telling you is the government is visionless, totally visionless in terms of agriculture. That's why you will earmark $8 million or less for Ministry of Agriculture, but gave the EPA almost $12 million. It shows a lack of vision. The government is incompetent. We must admit this. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Ballah.
Can I just tear that apart real quick? First of all, Mr. Kofa, you know, just by, like I said earlier, you know, you have the rhetoric of a typical politician. By saying things over and over, which are not factual, is not going to make it factual. The people of Liberia are starting to get sense. No, hold up. I'm being honest with you. A typical example, you saw what happened in Lofa. The people of Liberia are starting to understand that that they have been blessed for a long time now with what's going on right now as far as the current president. Let me just tell you why. Just by you know, putting on numbers.
Have a farm that you know of?
I beg your pardon?
Does President Weah have a farm? The last time on County tour, I saw him with cutlass, with Samuel tour with cutlass. Does he have a farm?
That's neither here nor there. I think we are talking about the general population of Liberia, and your question is about, is the government enhancing and enabling typical Liberians to be able to do these things? Not President Weah. I think President Weah will be fine just by himself. But we are talking about the people of Liberia, and I think absolutely this government.
He as a leader.
Yeah.
The lead, just as when he wrote the proposal, we all follow.
Right. We all follow. Yeah. So you know, if I didn't, but look, this president is absolutely taking the lead, whether or not he has a farm. Okay, what he's doing is creating the space, the opportunity for every single solitary Liberian, whether you're young, you're old, to have an ability to create agricultural opportunities for yourself in the country. My brother, I would never want to use the word lie, but he kind of, you know, thwarted the facts by saying that this government has not done anything from the standpoint of leadership to create opportunities for people to come. And that's what politicians do. They lie on other politicians who think I am not a politician. I am just a Weah empathizer. So I'm just here to you know, actually state reality that this government has in fact created opportunities to a vast extent, several different kinds of opportunities for typical. Yes. For typical. Have you ever heard about a guy called Armstrong Jabba? Have you heard about it?
I know him.
Okay, perfect. That is a typical case study. This guy reached out.
The government is giving him some money to carry on.
No. We're not talking about government giving money. We are talking about creating the space, the atmosphere to come and operate. Whether or not Armstrong Jabba used his own funding, the encouragement came from the government of Liberia that young people in the diaspora come home. What do you know? What can you do in the diaspora and at home? What do you know? What is agriculture? What is technology?
Any support being given to him? Because it's not enough to say just.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, accuse myself of knowing as to whether there is a direct subsidy. But what I do know is that the government has actually created the most important, because my brother criticized the government of not stepping up to the leadership role of creating these opportunities, which is in fact false. I mean, it's false because the government has created a vast majority of opportunities for people to come and operate in the economic space in Liberia. It's there, it's real. My brother, look, I don't know when last you went to Liberia. Maybe most of the things you're saying are based on what you see on Facebook, but I would encourage you to go to Liberia. Go see what's happening there. It's real. There's a major distinction between assuming things because you sit in these United States of America and actually going on the ground and seeing what's happening. I've been there. You know, take it from me. I've been there.
Thank you. And then your rebuttal here, so we'll give.
Yes, it is quite interesting that my friend will say government is somehow providing leadership, but he cannot pinpoint the leaders. He cannot pinpoint the programs.
I did several. I said it.
No.
I did.
Now,
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The lack of vision, is evident by the government allotment in its national budget in terms of the agricultural sector. The lack of vision. The Ministry of Agriculture have less money than the EPS.
But look, let me just ask you. Let me just ask you something.
I
was going to ask him though. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, then let's go one more step. I want to give him exact number. You see, after this show, I will actually send him all the information because what I have here is all from the World Food Program, the World Bank, and everything. I will send you all the links. Let me tell you this: the total area of Liberia in terms of hectares, 11,173,000. Listen to what I'm telling you, though. The area of Liberia that we have under cultivation. Listen to this: 11,137,000. That is the total amount of hectares that form Liberia. The areas the areas that we have under cultivation right now is 600,000. That shows it's only 5.4%. We're not using our land. The government has no program in terms of managing the agricultural sector. They have they are visionless. We have an agriculture minister.
Then are you suggesting that it is the government that should be directly involved in the agriculture?
No, I'm saying the government should provide leadership. Here, let me tell you this: everywhere they have farmers association that are merged with government in terms of government giving them money, supplementing, helping their programs. But you see, the government has to institute this program and say, farmers, this is what we have so that you guys will help us improve the agricultural sector. The government has to provide what I call leadership. The government has to do that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Anthony. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. No, I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
So what we have, 5.
I apologize.
Just 5.4%. Just imagine, my brother, 5.4% of our land being utilized for agriculture. We have no agriculture at all. That's why we are importing everything. The government is visionless.
Thank you. And Dr. Ballah, please. I want to send it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
The core question here will talk about budgetary funding. And Ben said to you that the top 5 officials at the Ministry of Agriculture have been indicted by the LACC for corruption. And we have heard so many reports from that ministry talking about corruption going on. Now, he also said that the EPA is getting more money than the Ministry of Agriculture. And you agree with him that it's Liberia.
No, I didn't. I did not.
Out of poverty, it got to be true agriculture. Let me give you another number.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Presidential Affairs gets 20 million in the budget, where agriculture, or got less than 10 million. So what is the priority for this government? I'm talking about priority. It's a strategy. It's leadership.
Right.
How do you do this government when it comes to that, please?
Look, it's very simple. But before I get to that, let me just say this real quick. Benjamin, I know you promised that you're gonna send me all your things you got from the White Wolf. What are those organizations you highlighted, or you said from where and where? Where you getting your stuff? Okay. Now, let me just say that, and that's what I said. You're getting all your information from people who go to these countries around Africa with a hand sanitizer, stay in the capital city, talk to 1 or 2 people, and then make conclusion. But no, I'm being typical. Let's be typical, because Liberia is in a very desperate place right now. We need to be typical and realistic. Now, people who go to country with a hand sanitizer, with a nice bottle of water, and they drink it around the capital city, to talk to 1 or 2 people and draw conclusions. I'm encouraging you, Benjamin, go to Liberia. I've been there. I don't know when the last time you've been there. You probably, you're getting all your things from all these confusing places. Go there, interact, see what's going on. I'm being real with you. As it stands right now, all of your pointers you're making are invalid, because you're making it based on things that people say. And I've been there. I'm just talking now. To answer that question, Anthony, I would say this. Okay, I would say this. My brother Benjamin is putting out numbers. And these budgetary allotments, whether it's going to agriculture, the Ministry of Presidential Affairs, or the EPS, etc., and so forth. I thought the core of this conversation is the government providing any source of leadership. Now, we can sit here and debate on how much between the government should be put in here or put in there, put in there, put in there. But that's why these people were elected. They are going to do things based on, amongst their several different forms of priorities. They are going to allot things based on what they believe are most important at the time. We can't tell them how to run their administration. That's why we elected them and entrusted them with the decisions to do these things. I could agree with you back and forth that yes, we should put a little more money into agriculture. I agree with that. Look, that's not something I'm going to argue with. But that does not mean that the government is not providing leadership just because they are not doing it to the extent, keyword, that you would like to see it done. You see what I'm saying? So there's a major distinction for you to like just sit here and just try to downgrade the government. They got no leadership, no vision. You just admitted that by saying that at least they are making allotments shows that they have the intentions and vision, right? But just because they're not doing it like you want, maybe you wanted to put $100 million here. I mean that's there. They're gonna have to do it the way they want to do it. But they're doing something.
So we can go to the final segment here.
Well, when my friends say that they are doing something that is amounting to nothing, I can't wrap my head around it. My brother, I will tell you this. I will continue to emphasize that the CDC inherited a bad situation, but due to the CDC mismanagement and incompetence, they made a bad situation worse. Now, Anthony just reminded you, but I think you are trying to do everything to avoid that. The state made policy decision in terms of leadership. They made allotment for the Ministry of Agriculture that was far less than the EPS, and you don't find that troubling. You don't find that troubling. Agriculture is our only means out of poverty. That's the only thing we got. So if you are this negligent about these key issues, it tells me you are negligent about a lot of other issues. It shows that the CDC is not worthy of re-election. They have no vision in terms of moving the country forward.
Thank you, Ben. And Ben, are you sticking to the 1 hour so that we can go to a final segment and
yes,
close?
Please.
All right. Dr. Ballah, he said he can only do 1 hour, so we will we'll go to the final segment, and that segment will be the rule of law, and that will conclude the debate after that segment. A short break for us to catch our breath, then we'll be going to the rule of law. Tio, get ready. Folks, welcome. This is Focus on Liberia Debate. I'm Anthony here moderating along with my partner, Tio William. We will now go to the final segment of the debate. That segment is the rule of law. I will read the core question and my partner, Tio, will read the specifics. Is Liberia experiencing and adhering to the rule of law under President Weah? Tio will read the specific questions there. Tio?
Great, Anthony. And the specific questions are: 1, are we having free and fair elections? 2, does the opposition have equal access to government run or public media institutions? 3, do citizens understand their rights and are free to exercise the same without fear or intimidation? And the last one is, are protests and peaceful assemblies guaranteed in today's Liberia under President George Weah?
And for this segment, Benjamin Kofa Fania will go first. Then,
yes, I will start with the fourth one. Protests and peaceful assembly. It is unfortunate that the CDC, which I was a part of, came to the fore through mass action. But we just saw something last week or last 2 weeks where people were assembling and they were attacked by thugs who we can all say were pro-state. In that light, I would say protests and peaceful assembly, they are no more an access or an avenue for Liberians to express themselves. I'll go to the third one. Do citizens understand the right? I would say to a large extent they do, but some are afraid to express their rights. To 2-1, do the opposition have equal access to the
government-run and public media institutions?
Media institutions.
I would say I would give that 60%, because we can see some of that happening. But I wish they could have a bit of a more access to the first one. Let me tell you, in the first,
free and fair elections.
Do we have free and fair elections? I would say yes, because we have instances where the opposition have won a lot of the by-elections, but the only thing is we've had like bits on, we have bits of incidents that is not that does not lead to the state organizing some kind of a thing to repress people from trying to express their rights. So I would say, yeah, we do have free and fair elections. That's why I look forward to winning the next election and removing George Weah. Thank you very much.
And based on the government performance, especially in the area of free and fair election, our history, Ben, about election rigging, especially during old time. It goes far back. You talk about we made the Guinea Books of Record and all that. I mean, this is a government that you are not actually impressed about, and that you agree that they are doing fairly well when it comes to free and fair election. Do you want to commend the government on this one? And does
you see, one thing about me, my dear brother, I will speak the truth when the truth should be, said. I would say this in this regard: the CDC is doing tremendous as well. And let me tell you one thing too. Right now, as we speak, it's harder to rig an election now. It's harder. It's harder because of all the frameworks we have in place. But I must give them a hell of a pat on the back, because if we look at the last two by-elections, CPP won almost all of it. So you can't look at that and say, well, the CDC is trying to rig the election. No. We should be honest. We should be fair. So I think in that regard, they are doing a great job, and that's why they're going to lose the next election.
Dr. Ballah, seems to be there will be an agreement on this one.
Look, I'll say this: there will be agreement, but there will be some amendments to what my brother said. Look, as far as protest, and freedom of assembly, number one, maybe unless I miss it, but up to now, are there any political prisoners in Liberia under this administration? Do we have any political? Not that we know of.
That some have been targeted.
Yes, and the reason is because there are none. There are no political prisoners. People have the freedom to assemble as they wish, whenever they wish, however they wish. But if you break the law, of course, like in any other country, like these United States of America, you're going to get arrested. That's obvious. But people have the freedom of assembly.
Right? But not brutalized.
Well, to a large extent, beyond. Are you talking? I'm hearing myself.
Go ahead.
Yeah. As far as are you saying brutalized from the standpoint of being arrested by the state and being brutalized?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but not that we have heard of, but if you're arrested and act belligerently, you're going to be brutalized. It happens in America. People get killed. People get shot. So we know that. So so there is no state on this God's green earth that is perfect in that regard. Okay. So but as far as the freedom of assembly and all of that, and people assembling and protests and all that happens. And in fact, this president has seen it happen on his watch worse than any other president, not because of his of their performance, but just because of mere hatred. Now, secondly, as far as the citizens understanding their rights, as far as when it comes to the Constitution, I think to a large extent, Liberians are very smart people, even though the rate of illiteracy is very high in the country as far as traditional classroom literacy, but Liberians are very smart, intelligent people. To a large extent, they understand their rights. So I would say yes, but improvement can be made in that regard. I think the government can take a lot more actions as far as in the civic space and educating people, making people more aware of their rights, their opportunities. Letting people understand more the kinds of rights that they have available to themselves. There can be improvements made there. As far as opposition, having access to media or government-run, media space and all that stuff. Look, no one has come out to complain that, look, we're an opposition party and we went here and we didn't have access. Of course, it's obvious. And in fact, the opposition party has a lot more, I would say, access to media space in general than the government, which kind of surprised me, because in other countries around the world, usually the government has a lot more monopoly in that space. But in this particular instance, the opposition has a lot more monopoly in this space, which is a good thing, I guess, to a large extent. Now, freedom, free and fair elections. This has happened. My brother tried to allude to that, but then try to take away from it by saying because there is no way to actually cheat. Well, the reason why there is no way to actually cheat is a credit given to this administration. They have made sure that there will be no way to cheat, so that nobody can come. So you're right. I agree with you. There is no way to cheat. There is free and fair elections in Liberia because Abraham Dowers Dillon won Maserado County to a large extent by almost a landslide. Nobody argued that. Just like Joseph Boyka got rejected by his own people, which is embarrassing, in Lofa County, which, by the way, I'm a Loma man, so take it from me. We actually rejected our own uncle because he was a failure for almost 42 plus years. So, yeah, so there are free and fair elections. We enjoy these things, which are exact reasons why, and amongst all of the other things, the economy, agriculture, healthcare, these are exact reasons why this administration not should be, but I'm very optimistic that it will be reelected come next November because they are on a trajectory that is much needed in Liberia. And if you mess around and give this administration another 6 years, you will see Liberia in a place of relevance and you will be so proud of your country. No more Ivory Coast, other countries will be laughing at us as the object of scorn and mockery. We are going to be the leaders in Africa, just like we used to be before our civil war.
Thank you, gentlemen, and those watching in Radio Land. You have been watching Focus on Liberia Debate with me, Anthony C. moderating, along with my partner, Theo Williams. We are at the conclusion point of the debate because of time. We have to respect our guest, Benjamin Kofa Fania, who has another engagement. Dr. Ballah has been prepared for 2 hours, but we will still be in touch with him to get another person to debate him for at least 2 hours. That said, we will take this break, and after that, they will be making their closing argument or closing. Then that will end the debate. So stay tuned for their closing argument.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
I am Anthony C. We will now bring in Dr. Ballah for his closing.
Okay, well, I want to thank you once again, Mr. Anthony C.A., Mr. Theo Williams, Mr. Dennis Jah, Mr. Benjamin. Your name is on the screen, so I can't say your last name. So I apologize if I'm not saying your last name. But okay, yeah, Mr. Benjamin Kofa, fine. I want to thank you guys, and most importantly, or certainly equally, I want to thank the people of Liberia, for this time. Look, Liberia is a country that has a very tricky history. Okay, there's been a lot of sad times in our history, but also amazingly great and wonderful times. We find ourselves at a crossroads right now as a country. And you are about to make another decision in the next few months, I would say just about over a year from now, okay, about the perpetual trajectory of your country, where you want to see your country go. You've had several administrations in the past, the last one, a part of which Vice President Boyka was a major part, okay? And you saw what happened, and you can see for yourself what's going on right now. You have a current administration that is projecting to a large extent, in diverse ways, care and concern for this country in the sector of agriculture, okay? Healthcare, where you see several hospitals being built around the country. The president sending out healthcare practitioners to other places around the world so they can augment and enhance their knowledge and understanding, spending money, creating this new dialysis center at JFK. All these things, I'm not saying they're perfect, they're enough, but these are steps that you take when you're trying to get to a place of relevance. The economy right now, the Liberian dollar, to a large extent, We may not like where it has been, but it has been stable relative to the US dollars, which is the most dominant currency. I'm not saying it's the highest currency, but it's the most dominant currency on earth. Relative to the US currency, the Liberian dollars has been stable for a long time. And I understand there's a lot of hard time in the country. People are hungry. People are still starving amidst all of these numbers that we're putting out there. There's a reality of suffering, real suffering. But we are on a trajectory that if we continue to work with this administration, we are going to get to a place of relevance compared to the last administration, right? And see where you are today. We are getting somewhere. All of these markets that the president is actually erecting or maybe even renovating around the country, Kofa market, all of these other markets, Ballah, all these markets, these are places that you will be able to come and actually conduct commerce. The president is working on, on making sure electricity is available almost entirely across the country, several counties now, including Bombing County, Bong County, San Nicola County, and all these places. There are several hydro dams being erected around the country. Specifically one in Bassa County right now, and in Lofa County. All of these things are being worked on so as to infuse and enhance the economy. So eventually, over time, we'll have electricity where you will be very encouraged and motivated to come out and conduct commerce. All of these things are happening. Road construction, although the opposition, my friend on the other side, will try to say all these roads you see the president building are because Ellen started, which is not a fact. Boycott did not start anything. All Boycott did was they started something little on that Jamaican highway, which was about 10%. The president has done 90% of the work. Look what's going on right now. You're enjoying that. There are a lot of other road constructions going on around the country. These are typical things that this administration is doing to enhance Liberia. If we work along with this president and remain hopeful and remain optimistic, we can come back to being the Liberia that we were before the war and then take it to another level. Remember, Liberia used to be the place that other countries around Africa admired. They came to learn from us. When Nigeria and all of these other countries were fighting for independence, Liberia was where they came. We can get there again. And I'm sure President Weah is on a trajectory. I don't have enough time, but all I have to say, look, I love Liberia. I love my country. I love where I'm from. And I believe from everything I've seen that this president is on a trajectory to making a significant stride. It may not be perfect, but we will get there. So thank you so much, and God bless the beautiful Republic of Liberia.
Dr. Ballah, thank you for honoring our request and participating in our debate intellectually and civilly. We appreciate you, sir, and we'll reach out to you for another debate. Benjamin Kofa Fania, your close.
Yeah, the first thing I want to say is I would like to thank my friend, Mr. Kemah. I'd like to thank all of you guys for hosting this dialogue. But let me emphasize something first. My friend on the other side, he said the CDC had made minute improvement. Minute means negligible. It means too small to even measure. Now, we had a time span of 5 years. I also want to remind him that the CDC came to power on the mantra of change. When I am proclaiming change, that means I've assessed what is pertaining and I know how to make it better and how to improve it. I would like to emphasize one last point. The CDC inherited a bad situation, but because of mismanagement and incompetence, the CDC made a bad situation worse. Let me tell you this. It is unfortunate for my friend to be happy about the fact that out of 195 countries, for the last 4 years under the CDC, Liberia has been within the top 10 of the poorest country in the world. And my friend said that was an achievement. I found that very troubling. It is also troubling to me for my friend to tell me that there's access and availability and affordability of healthcare in Liberia when we have the evidence that officials of government of Liberia leave Liberia. The ones who have died in foreign hospitals. Now, where will Manjwa and her children go when they are sick? If officials are leaving Liberia to seek health care, it means that the quality of health care in Liberia is subpar. Now let's go to agriculture. For a government that will give more money to the EPS than the Ministry of Agriculture, I find that very troubling. Last thing, for a government to sit down while the Minister of Agriculture and 5 of her assistants and staff have been indicted by the LACC for corruption. I didn't make that report. The LACC submitted a report where the president himself, when he was asked during a radio interview, he said he didn't know that LACC report even existed. I want to ask myself what else he's unaware of. The next election, Liberians should ensure that the decision they make be one that is based on the preponderance of information. The decision that they make should be on those who have the capacity, the ability, and the body of work in terms of experience to bring changes to Liberia. As we sit right now, the CDC has literally wasted 5 years. Let me make my final point. The only improvement we've had in Liberia has been in the lives of government officials. The budget of Liberia has successfully increased from the day CDC took power. The budget has been on an increase. Poverty continued to rise. Liberia faced significant challenges in terms of food insecurity. The CDC government has failed. We deserve something new. We deserve something better. That's why I, Benjamin Kofa Fanier, am seeking the presidency of Liberia. We are not here to just talk. We have the body of work, we have the experience, we have the capacity and the capability to bring changes to Liberia. I want to say thank you to all of you guys on this show. Thank you to every Liberian hearing the sound of my voice. I want to assure Liberians that better Liberia is possible. The election of next year should not boil down to George Weah and Joseph Boyka. They are not the two best people Liberia have to offer. We have many competent Liberians out there in the world, and I want to encourage them to become part of this race so that whoever wins it will be on the basis of the superiority of his ideas. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Thank you, Focus on Liberia. Thank you to my good friend in Liberia. I want to say, every Liberian hearing the sound of my voice, I wish us a good day, and I hope to be back on Focus on Liberia very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin Kofa Fanier, there making his closing. Ben, the only thing I want to correct, Dr. Ballah did not say healthcare is affordable in Liberia.
Look, but actually,
compared to other countries, is deplorable. But he said
there's actually a lot of things to correct. But anyway, I understand. I understand. We had to give him a chance to pitch his political ambition, so that's fine. But that's okay.
One quick question about Dr. Fanier or Mr. Fanier before you leave us quickly.
Okay,
please
go ahead.
Mr. Fanier, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, initially you talked about your support to the CDC. I'd like to know from you quickly, what prompted that support for the CDC initially, and when did you realize all of those lapses as claimed by you during your explanation, and what actually went wrong?
Yes. Oh, my brother, I want to say I welcome that question. I'm very happy that you posted. I joined the CDC in 2009. I want you to hear this, and I want every Liberian to hear this. When we were going to the election of 2011, I demanded that the CDC go to that election with a platform, with a blueprint, with a roadmap. So in case we win election, these and these and these and these are the manner in which the country will be managed. We lost that election. Going to the last election, I demanded also again, and I can tell you this, I put those agenda items online. I demanded that we have documentation in terms of what the agenda would be. And I also demanded that those agenda have timelines, which we'll use as a basis to assess. Then we came up with the proper agenda for development. I want to tell you this, the CDC, upon winning the election, I left 2 days after the inauguration because there was a national executive meeting and some decisions were made that I disagree with. Very important decision regarding the future of Liberia. You see, I am not in this because of me. I'm in this to see the betterment, the improvement of Liberia. So if people are making decisions that I disagree with, and I see that there are no means in terms of negotiating that where the decision will be withdrawn or changed, I will withdraw myself, because this is not about me. It's about bringing improvement to Liberia. So the CDC is running Liberia now. Maybe my friend don't know, on what we call the proper agenda for development. And there is no basis for assessment in terms of how far they are in terms of achieving their goals that are spelled out in the proper agenda for development. You see,
for prosperity and development.
What we should be discussing here we should be discussing how much of the CDC proper development agenda has been achieved.
Thank you, Ben.
No. Anthony,
I'll give you time. That's about
it. Exactly. Look,
I'll be fair to
you. I can totally understand that to a large extent. This is about Benjamin expressing himself as a presidential aspirant. That's fine. I totally understand that. I'm glad that Anthony was very quick to actually correct Benjamin, and because I know he had the last word, so he had the opportunity to make up stories and make things look good and say his inspirational speech and try to play to the emotions of Liberians, which is the exact reason why we are where we are today. Liberians have operated based on emotions. The likes of Benjamin Kofa, for example, he sits in the United States, suddenly maybe worked with the CDC and realized that what he thought was going to happen as far as the charitable thing, he was going to get some free position. For example, I'm just giving an example. That didn't work out. These things don't work out. Guys like Benjamin jump up in America. Oh, I want to be president too. You see, he sits here on this platform and recites some emotional speech, something that will play to the emotions of Liberians. What I would advocate in this instance is this. What we need to do as Liberians is start to operate based on our intellectual abilities, not our emotions. A guy like Benjamin will come and say all this sweet stuff he just said, which is, and if I wasn't smart, I was going to start crying just now. But let me just tell the people of Liberia to understand. No, I'm serious. What we need to do is to realize that if we really want Liberia to come to a place of relevance, sweet, beautiful, rosy speeches like what Benjamin just gave is now going to take us there. Actions speak louder than words. It doesn't matter how many times Benjamin lies about this administration's achievements and talk about how this administration is incompetent, has no vision, but we are seeing actual actions. It doesn't matter how much he tries to thwart that. The reality is there. Liberians, what I'm advocating, I'm not running for president. I'm not running for anything like my brother Janet or Benjamin. So he has a reason to come and lie to you and try to make you feel emotional. What I'm saying is, and I got nothing again. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anybody in the government. I have no attachments. But what I've seen is that for us to make significant strides as Liberians, the first thing we need to engage is our intellectualism. It's our ability to think for ourselves, not from the heart. Oh, the man said, "We're too sweet, we're too sorrowful." The way he talked just now, he read it sweet. Look at that true what we aren't doing. When he just lied here a lot, even Anthony just corrected him when he lied on me when I talk about healthcare. That's what politicians do, Liberians. So we need to stop. If we keep playing this game that Benjamin trying to play on you, and maybe somebody else will come. Election coming now, so everybody will come out of the woodwork to be president. They will come small. If you don't start to think for yourself as a people, we're joking in our country. We're going nowhere. Here you have a president that's doing actual actions, doing things. They are there for you to see. And you will let a guy like Benjamin come say sweet speech, sorrowful speech, something that's sweet, that enjoyable, and you follow it. He used to be with CDC, but because he didn't give him nothing free, now so he will be president. You guys need to understand.
Thank you.
This is where we are.
Thank you, Dr. Ballah, and Ben. Thanks so very much, guys. We appreciate your time and your intellect, and being civil, and intellectual in the discussion. We hope for another opportunity here at Focus on Liberia. On behalf of my team member here, Theo Williams, in Liberia, who is Focus on Liberia reporter Anthony Sie, we want to say thank you, especially to the Liberian people who follow the debate. This is how it should be. Let us project the best of Liberia. When we assemble as a people, we can do it. Liberians are the #1 smartest group of people in the world, period. That is my opinion.
Yeah, you absolutely.
Can with your grandmother. We need to agree, believe that, and add it, and then we'll do it. And this is what you are saying here. Folks, that will conclude the debate. The song says we are all Liberians, and that song is taking us home. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberians.